about the sport of boxing. I don't want everybody at home to hear me when I say this. A belt, I'm tired, and I'm at home, and this goes for any company. I don't care if it's Top Rank, if it's Golden Boy, if it's Mayweather Promotions, if it's PBC. There's too many champions in the sport of boxing right now. Too many champions. It's not a such thing as a super champion, not at all. And I'm not taking nothing away from no fighter. It's too many belts. And the reason why is too. Let me tell people what's going on in the sport of boxing, why there are so many different titles and so many different belts. People don't know you have to pay for every belt that you win, there's a sanctioning fee. So now if a fighter wears an intern belt, he has to pay a sanctioning fee. If a fighter has just the regular belt, he has to pay a sanctioning fee. Then if a fighter is a super champion, then he has to pay a sanctioning fee. This is not good for the sport of boxing. When the sport of now, when a fighter fights, every fighter is a champion. Now, after you see no belts is like a fighter winning an amateur trophy. Everybody's a champion. Everybody have a belt.
Get sick randomly sometimes when I think about just use my last 2 fights, the amount of sanction fees that I had to pay. It kind of takes away the love for it, you know? Now the Ring Magazine belt, I love that belt. No fees. No fees, and you're the guy with that belt. Like I'm recognized as the guy. So I love the Ring Magazine belt. It's got great history. But all these other belts, man, it's robbery. And I stand on that. Please, I would love to talk to any of these guys. And I was trying to put something together with Mauricio. We had sort of like an open dialogue and debate about what these things are about. Explain to me how you justify taking 3%. Like, we come to, and fighters aren't supposed to talk about this stuff. We're just supposed to shut up and fight, you know? But those days are over. And nobody can explain to me who enacted these sanctioning bodies. Who came up with 3%? Why is it not 5? Why is it not 1? Why is it not 2? And is it going to increase at any point in time? And then that 3%, what are you doing? Now, Mauricio came with a list of things. Oh, we're helping fighters, this and that. Shouldn't I have some say in where my money goes? Like, you can opt into this or you cannot opt in. But if you opt in, it's helping fighters who get hurt in the ring, fighters who need benefits. Like, I'm down to do that if I can opt in. And I probably would opt in sometime. Because I want to see fighters get help. But you're just trained to just do it. You're a champion. Yeah, but he's also a champion. He's also a champion. It's not right, man. But we just accept these things in boxing, man. And I'll never, certain things in the sport, I'll never accept. I'll never just go along to get along. You know, I'm not going to, bang the table every time I got a camera in my face. But when it's appropriate, I'm going to say something about it. And I hope to be a part of change one day.
I mean, I like to. I mean, a lot of times they get organizations. I mean, we gotta know where this money going to. I mean, a lot of times they get. Man, you got Canelo and Josh and all these guys, making $50 million, and these bills getting 3% of that. Where is it going to? How is it helping the fighters out? What are they doing with it?
What's good, YouTube? It's your boy, Blue Blood Sports TV, and I'm back at y'all with another one. So you just heard, Floyd Mayweather stands with Terence Bud Crawford. Andre SOG Ward stands with Terence Bud Crawford. And Earl the True Spence Jr. agrees with Terence Bud Crawford. So, if you don't know, the pound for pound king took a stand yesterday, and he let it be known. Well, he verbally took a stand and let us know, but he already, action-wise, took a stand where he decided he wasn't going to concede with the wicked ways of the World Boxing Council, better known as the WBC. And he let it be known that he's not paying the fees that they want him to pay, extra fees, and they say they stripped him of his title, and then stated that and then stated that he owes them $300,000, right? And so, with that said, he let it be known, I'm not doing this. You know what I'm saying? I'm not paying y'all extra fees. Everybody agreed to a specific fee. Y'all don't want to do it, right? And so with that said, they stripped him of his belt. And so Terence Crawford is like, listen, you can keep your belt. Like Andre Ward said, the Ring Magazine belt is the most prestigious belt and it's free. That makes you the lineal champion, the most important belt, and it's free. And so Mauricio Sulaiman, he responds again, right? So now listen to this. Terence Crawford also had this to say. He said, quote, let's make things very clear. I never agreed to anything with the WBC on anything, nor did my team. So stop the cap that with that narrative. I've always been a man of my word, right? Then he goes on to say, it's crazy how Chico Lopez, shout out to Chico Lopez, it's crazy that Chico Lopez had to deliver me my belt after the fight because the WBC, Mauricio Sulaiman, was too shameful to personally give it to me himself. But I should be thankful him for a bill. Okay, I'm done. And he put the laughing emojis. Right. Because Mauricio Sulaiman was going for Canelo Alvarez to beat Terence Crawford. And that didn't happen. And so they didn't even deliver him his belt. And he's saying, they didn't deliver me my belt. And I'm supposed to be thankful. I'm supposed to jump up and down for joy because of what? I'm supposed to pay you because of what? Now, Mauricio Sulaiman responds with this again.
Unfortunate. The worst situation, the worst decision that the WBC could ever take is to withdraw recognition of a champion. And I am very sorry for Terence's actions. His actions led to the WBC decide something. And we did every single possible attempt to find a resolution and to avoid what eventually had happened. But boxing champions have obligations, as same as they have great benefits from being a WBC champion. And it has been a long process, which is very uncomfortable and disappointing. Yes, that is the situation. Sanction fees for 2 fights. For Madrimov, when Crawford was the WBC welterweight champion, he won the fight.
First of all, Madrimov fight was at junior middleweight. He said when he was the welterweight champion. It was at junior middleweight. 154. And it was for the WBA title. They decided to make him the WBC interim champion. And he petitioned for the WBO stance to be the mandatory for Sebastian Fundora, not the WBC. They put their self in this conversation because they wanted to be a part of Terence Crawford's journey after he beat Errol Spence. He beat Madrimov, had the WBA title. They wanted to interject and made him the WBC interim champion. And he was petitioned. He had petitioned after he beat Errol Spence and the rematch wasn't happening to be the mandatory for the WBO and Tim Tszyu. And then Sebastian Fundora because Sebastian Fundora beat Tim Tszyu. The WBC belt was vacant. And Sebastian Fundora and Tim Tszyu fought for the vacant WBC title and Tim Tszyu's WBO title. So what is he talking about? Just like Andre Ward said and Floyd Mayweather said, you got to pay for interim titles. Make it make sense. Again, let me run that down real quick for y'all if you didn't understand. Terence Crawford, after he beat Errol Spence, became undisputed. He was waiting for the instant rematch with Errol Spence. It didn't happen. He petitioned the World Boxing Organization, the WBO, to be the mandatory for Tim Tszew's WBO title at 154. Tim Tszyu was allowed to have a voluntary defense. He was going to fight against Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman tore his bicep. The fight got canceled. Okay? The middleweight undisputed champion was Jermell Charlo, who vacated all his belts when he moved up to fight Canelo Alvarez. With that said, Sebastian Fundora was supposed to fight Serhaj Boachuk for the WBC vacant belt. When Keith Thurman got hurt, Sebastian Fundora was elevated to the main event and fought against Tim Tszyu, okay, for Tim Tszew's WBO title and the vacant WBC title. In that case, Terence Crawford then decided to fight what was available, which was Israel Madrimov, for the WBA title. The WBC wanted to be included. Sebastian Fundora beat Tim Tszyu, became the WBC WBO champion. Terence Crawford beat Israel Madrimov for the WBA title. They made him the WBC interim champion to be the mandatory for Tim Tszyu, Sebastian Fundora. We know the rest was history. They didn't strip Sebastian Fundora. They didn't order him to fight Terence Crawford. So he's saying that Terence Crawford didn't pay the fees for the Madrimov fight. Why would he pay fees for the Madrimov fight when he's not the WBC champion? So you wanted to get fees from Terence Crawford for fighting Israel Madrimov for the WBA title and get fees from Sebastian Fundora and Tim Tszyu. Make this make sense. And only one person has the belt, which was Fundora. So Fundora had to pay fees and Terence Crawford had to pay fees? Make it make sense.
And his next move, he never paid the sanction fees for that fight. His next fight was Canelo Alvarez. He fought for the WBC title as well as the other three organizations, and he won the WBC title and the undisputed. He became undisputed, and he did not pay the sanctions fees for the fight. Well, it's very unfortunate.
As I stated, no. And I hope all boxers take a stand. Let me know what y'all think, man. Drop a comment in the comment section. Follow me on Instagram at Blue Blood Sports TV, all one word. It's your boy Blue signing off. I'm gone. Peace.